Today we're talking about a huge leak around Apple's upcoming iPhone 18 lineup, and it's all about the displays. If you've been waiting for the day when every new iPhone finally gets a 120Hz screen, especially the non-Pro models, this might be the year it finally happens. According to fresh leaks out of China, the iPhone 18, iPhone 18 Pro, iPhone 18 Pro Max, and the iPhone Air 2 are all set to feature LTPO OLED panels with a 120Hz high refresh rate. On top of that, we've got detailed information about the screen sizes, the future of Dynamic Island, and Apple's early steps toward fully under-display Face ID. Let's break down exactly what's been leaked, what it means for each model, and why the iPhone 18 series might look like a conservative update on the outside, but a big step forward in display tech. First, a quick overview of the leaked lineup and what's changing. Apple is expected to move into serial production of the iPhone 18 series before mid-February 2026. That timing lines up with Apple's usual schedule and means we're entering the phase where more concrete information starts to slip out. Final designs, display specs, and key hardware decisions. A well-known leaker, Digital Chat Station, posted new details on Weibo, and those were later translated and shared more widely by Ice Universe. According to this leak, Apple is working on 4 main iPhone models with updated displays: iPhone 18, iPhone 18 Pro, iPhone 18 Pro Max, iPhone Air 2, and the headline is simple but massive. All 4 are rumored to come with 120Hz LTPO OLED screens. If this pans out, it will be the first time Apple brings 120Hz to every mainline iPhone model in a single generation, including the non-Pro iPhone 18 and the more affordable iPhone Air 2. Let's talk about why that matters. Up until now, Apple has reserved high refresh rate displays for its Pro models under the promotion branding. That meant if you bought a standard iPhone, you were stuck at 60 Hz. Even as mid-range Android phones started getting 90 Hz and 120 Hz panels as standard with the iPhone 18 series. The leak suggests that changes in a big way. All 4 models, 120 Gel 4 models, LTPO OLED, 120 Hz refresh rate makes everything feel smoother. Scrolling, animations, gaming, and even basic UI interactions look and feel more fluid. It also makes fast-paced content like action games and high frame rate videos look noticeably better. The LTPO part is just as important. LTPO, low temperature polycrystalline oxide, allows for variable refresh rates. In practice, this means the screen can ramp up to 120 Hz when you need ultra smooth performance, and dial all the way down to much lower refresh rates when you're looking at static content, reading text, or watching something that doesn't benefit from 120 Hz. That saves battery life without sacrificing the perception of smoothness. So if this leak is accurate, Apple is finally standardizing a premium display experience across iPhone 18 with 120Hz LTPO OLED, phone 18 Pro with 120Hz LTPO OLED, phone 18 Pro Max with 120Hz LTPO OLED, phone Air 2 with 120Hz LTPO OLED. Now, let's get into the exact display sizes and the differences between each model, because this is where Apple's design strategy becomes clearer. According to the leak, here are the screen dimensions and front-facing layouts for each device. iPhone 18, 6.27-inch display with Dynamic Island, phone 18 Pro, 6.27-inch display with an under-display cutout area, phone 18 Pro Max, 6.88-inch display with an under-display cutout area, phone Air 2, 6.55-inch display with Dynamic Island. So what does this tell us? First, Apple is keeping the overall display sizes essentially the same as the current iPhone 17 series and the existing iPhone Air. There's no massive jump in size, no new in-between dimensions, and no radical layout change in terms of the aspect ratio. If you're happy with how big the iPhone 17 generation feels in your hand, The iPhone 18 family should feel immediately familiar. Second, the real difference is not the size, but the front camera and Face ID implementation. iPhone 18 and iPhone Air 2 keep the dynamic island. iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max move to an under-display cutout area. The term under-display cutout area is key here. It suggests that Apple is starting to hide more of the Face ID hardware under the display on the Pro models, while still leaving some visible element for the camera or key sensors. In practice, that likely means the iPhone 18 and iPhone Air 2 will continue to have a visible, dynamic island, that pill-shaped cutout integrated into the status bar and UI. The iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max will shrink that visible area, moving some Face ID components under the display, reducing the size of the cutout and giving you a more immersive screen. This fits with earlier rumors that Apple wants to gradually phase out the visible dynamic island on its higher-end models by pushing more and more hardware under the screen. Let's talk a bit more about this under-display direction, because it has major long-term implications. Apple is reportedly exploring ways to reduce the external footprint of Face ID and the selfie camera. Right now, even with the dynamic island, you still have a noticeable black pill cut out at the top of the screen. By moving portions of the Face ID system under the display on the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max, Apple can shrink the visible cutout or pill shape, make the status bar look cleaner, increase the sense of immersion, especially for full-screen video and gaming. The leak even suggests this is part of a longer-term roadmap. Apple is believed to be targeting a fully under-display Face ID and front camera system for its 20th anniversary iPhones. In other words, the changes we're seeing rumored for the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max might just be the first stage in that transition. For now, with the iPhone 18 series non-Pro models, iPhone 18, iPhone Air 2, keep a familiar dynamic island design. Pro models, iPhone 18 Pro, iPhone 18 Pro Max, push toward a cleaner, more futuristic front with more hidden under the screen. If you care about having the most modern, least intrusive front design, these leaks make the iPhone 18 Pro and especially the iPhone 18 Pro Max sound very appealing. Now, let's go through each model one by one in a little more detail and break down where they stand based on these display leaks. iPhone 18 6.27-inch 120Hz LTPO OLED dynamic island. The standard iPhone 18 is shaping up to be the default choice for most people, and the display upgrade is significant. 6.27-inch LTPO OLED 120Hz refresh rate dynamic island still present. This is a big deal for anyone who skipped previous base models because of the 60 Hz limitation. If you've been waiting for a regular iPhone with a promotion class screen and don't necessarily need all the Pro extras, the iPhone 18 display leak is very promising. You get smooth scrolling and animations, more premium viewing and gaming experience, likely better power efficiency, thanks to LTPO variable refresh all, while keeping the dynamic island aesthetic that Apple introduced and heavily integrated into iOS. iPhone 18 Pro to 6.27-inch 120Hz LTPO OLED under display cutout. The iPhone 18 Pro keeps the same 6.27-inch size but evolves in how it presents the front sensors. 6.27-inch LTPO OLED 120Hz refresh rate under display cutout area for Face ID components. On paper, it sounds like the Pro display will look cleaner and more minimal than the regular iPhone 18, all for the same compact form factor, but with a slightly more advanced implementation of Face ID, and the selfie camera possibly have a more edge-to-edge feel compared to the dynamic island layout. If you want the smaller iPhone size but also want the latest display tech tricks, the iPhone 18 Pro stands out. iPhone 18 Pro Max 6.88-inch 120Hz LTPO OLED under display cutout. The iPhone 18 Pro Max remains the big screen flagship and likely Apple's most premium iPhone 18. Model Colon 6.88-inch LTPO 120Hz refresh. Right under display cutout area, this is the device that benefits the most visually from a cleaner front design. On a 6.88-inch screen, even a small reduction in visible cutout size makes movies, games, and full-screen apps feel more immersive. With one of the largest displays in the iPhone 18 family, a high and under display Face ID layout 120 Hz. LTPO technology iPhone 18 Pro Max. Display is clearly being positioned as the most advanced panel in Apple's lineup from a user experience perspective. Even if the core specs align with the Pro version. iPhone Air 2 to 6.55-inch 120 HZLTPO Old Dynamic Island.